20 seconds and counting. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Liftoff.
Roll complete. LE cutoff. On track. OMAC cutoff. Picture on. 40 killed parachute. Broke parachutes mains. SM set. Two mains fully disreefed. Base heat shield jettison. Airbags inflating. CM touchdown.
All right. Well, we have Starliner taking to flight for the very first time and touching down safely and beautifully on the desert floor. That was just incredible, Dan. It's kind of hard not to get a little bit emotional over here just watching it, but that was phenomenal. Initial indication is that we've had a very successful pad abort test today.
That's right. It went off, it lit off, and I mean, when you're standing here watching it in person, that thing's really moving when you see it get up off the pad. And then the sound hits you about 5 or 6 seconds later. You just get that rumble across the desert floor as Starliner's already streaking through the sky.
Absolutely. And to see it touch down like that, now you did see touchdown under 2 good mains, which is certainly within the bounds of the acceptable bounds for this particular test. We have tested with 2 good mains and qualification, and that is acceptable for our landing sequence. So this was just incredible. It was incredible to watch this test, and it was just absolutely unbelievable. We're going to take just a little look at a replay here. Again, I hope you didn't blink, because 650 miles an hour in 5 seconds, that thing sure did shoot off the test stand, didn't it? You have the launch abort engines firing, those 4 launch abort engines, 40,000 pounds of thrust off the stand, OMAX, another 1,500 pounds of thrust each on those. Those continue to fire. You saw the pilot parachutes pulling out the mains there after that pitch around maneuver, and then of course you saw the service module at some point fall away. And I mean, what an absolutely beautiful sight. Parachutes really doing their job here in terms of making sure that they can get the spacecraft in the right orientation to safely release that service module down to the ground. And of course, you know, we want to keep our eyes on that crew module. You know, I think our folks back in Florida are going to be really interested to see the data come out of this test today, for sure.
And again, we saw two out of 3 parachutes, but that is a stable condition, and that's just kind of goes into what we have in space flight redundancy. And
yep,
if you've ever been around anyone from NASA or Boeing or any of the space companies, redundancy, we have backups for our backups, that whole thing. And that's just really a great example of how you're able to work even when things don't go exactly as they're designed.
Yeah, and actually we could have, you know, our fault tolerance on that is really, you know, one drogue out as well as one main out. So we do have redundancy, like you said, built in. And it's just, again, it's just so incredible to see those landing airbags on our spacecraft touchdown. You know, it's going to be incredible to watch it on a return to mission here coming up right around the corner, December
right in the holidays.
17th. Yep, absolutely. You know, I just want to give a quick shout out to our folks at the Starliner production factory in Florida that I know are watching right now. Also our folks in Houston that are watching, and our folks all around the country. You know, they have worked so incredibly hard for this moment today, and to see a spacecraft that they built on a launch pad for the very first time just means so incredibly much. And I'll tell you what, you guys, it was just as beautiful in person as you would have as you would imagine.
Yeah, but I mean, there it sits. We'll continue giving you some of these great views, and maybe even a couple of replays. We're going to hang out for a little bit. We know that a couple of people were here watching, including our first Starliner crew.
That's right.
So we're hoping to get them over here in just a couple of minutes and come celebrate with us.
Yeah, and you know, let me just again, you know, remind folks how we're going to be recovering the spacecraft today. That crew module that you see there, that's going to be recovered, brought back to Launch Complex 32 for evaluation analysis. Again, you know, we want to make sure we get all the data off that spacecraft. Of course, the initial indication here is that we've had a successful test, but you know, we really want to take a hard look at all the data and hand that over to NASA, and of course make sure that everything worked as well as it appeared to look to us. And the service module is another. It's going to be recovered slightly different. Like I said, that we're going to get a little bit of data off that service module if we can, depending on the condition that it's in. But a combined team of Boeing, the U.S. Army, and an environmental and industrial services company called Clean Arbors, they're going to go out. We're going to safe that vehicle, and we're going to go ahead and properly dispose of it. So really exciting. The crew module, of course, we're going to keep around, possible reuse. You know, there's of course, flight hardware on there that we could potentially reuse if we needed to. But, you know, once again, the key here is those crew modules are reusable vehicles. You know, we have 2 additional spacecraft back at our production facility in Florida. Of course, the Starliner that's going to be launching here in December for our first uncrewed orbital flight test to the International Space Station. And then we have the spacecraft that is going to launch crew. It was actually the very first spacecraft that we built, sent out for environmental qualification testing that Alicia was a part of. And we've got that spacecraft in the factory as well. In fact, you might have seen some photo of our orbital flight test vehicle, complete and fully built, and actually rolling into one of our hazardous processing areas for fueling, getting ready to roll out to the pad.
Everything's on track for Starliner's first flight to space and to the International Space Station. We've already put out some news on that. Right now we're targeting December 17th. So if you're going to be on the Space Coast around the holidays, might be a good idea to come out for a rocket launch. Yeah,
and hey, I'll tell you this, Starliner is the very first human spacecraft both built and launched right in Florida. So if you live on the Space Coast, we really hope to see you come on out and support your hometown girl and watch her fly, because that's going to be really incredible.
Yeah, there's a couple of things just coming up over the next several weeks. Starliner itself is going to get fueled up in that C3PF, that production facility where the Starliner is being built. Following that, it's going to get rolled over to the ULA Vertical Integration Facility. I'm trying to get all my acronyms right as I go through
Hey, you're doing a good job.
ULA actually stacking the rocket today, so getting it ready. And again, we're targeting December 17th for that launch. It'll be a flight up to the space station. It'll get there in just about a day, I think, is the latest dynamics. That can change depending on where the station's altitude is over time. It'll be about a day up there. It'll dock. It'll be the first successful docking of Starliner. They'll have it there for a couple of days, and then we'll meet it right back here just a couple of days after.
Yep, absolutely. You know, it's really incredible. Taking another look here at this crew module on the desert floor. You know, very first time Starliner takes flight. Just with, I mean, I gotta say, you know, to see it come down and touch down on the desert there under those landing airbags, it just is. We're going to be making history when it does that on a return to space mission here coming up in December, like you said. But to see it today, it's hard not to get a little bit emotional. Just knowing the folks back at home who have just put their hearts and souls into this. You know, it's funny because I showed a little bit of footage of the spacecraft being signed in Florida before, and I talked a little bit about Kevin. I don't think I mentioned Jonna, who was also in that file footage. And here's a really funny fact about her. You know, her daughter actually says that the spacecraft is her younger brother, because her mom just spends, you know, so much time, the dedication that she's put into the spacecraft as one of our lead wiring technicians. And you know, it's just the Starliner production factory, folks in Florida, folks in Houston, and all across the country who've helped us out and have just put their hearts and souls into this program, are full of folks like Kevin and Jonna, and you know, really hoping that they are just grinning from ear to ear this morning and getting ready to celebrate.
And again, if you're just now tuning in, you are looking at Starliner. It's on the desert floor. That pad abort was done successfully. Our T0, so our launch time was 7:15 a.m. Mountain, 9:15 a.m. Eastern. If you didn't catch it, we'll have some more replays coming up for you, because it was over in a flash. I think it was from start to finish. It's only about a 95-second test or so.
Correct.
So it's over quick, but we got to see all of the events happen in sequence, those 4 launch abort engines firing, throwing Starliner up in the air away from the pad, and then getting it in the right orientation, pitching around using those thrusters on the side, getting good shoots or good drogues out, the service module separating.
Correct.
Everything looked fantastic this morning. 2 good mains, so still in a stable configuration.
Yep.
The airbags inflating and touching right down on the desert floor.
And like we said, those 2 good mains are certainly within the acceptable bounds of this test. Here we go. We're going to replay it again here for you. So just in case you're just now tuning in, you know, at this point, you know, you see that pitch around maneuver happen, and those as it prepares to go ahead and start the parachute sequence. You saw those look to be those 2 drogues followed by those 3 pilots. Here come the mains, and as we continue to replay that here, I'm just going to go ahead and get folks excited here, getting ready to welcome the crew flight test crew, Boeing and Starliner astronauts. They're just pulled up. We're going to go ahead and talk to them, go ahead and get them. Hey, come on in, guys. Come on over. Come on
we're going
over.
to get everybody. Come on over, guys.
How you doing? Good to see you.
So awesome, huh?
How's it going? I know, long time no see. Okay, come on over. Mikey, come on over here with me. Right. Nicole, go ahead and get in the middle of these guys. All right. So just an incredible test. Dan and I were out here. I know you guys were watching the test nearby. This, of course, is the Boeing Starliner crew flight test crew. We've got Boeing's astronaut Chris Ferguson, NASA astronaut Nicole Mann, and Mike Fink. And let me just start with this guy, because this is really, this here is space flight legend, Mike Fink. This will be his 4th time up to space on Starliner here, coming up on our crew flight test. But in addition to that, this is actually going to be your 3rd vehicle. So as rare as it is to be an astronaut, it's even more rare to fly on your 3rd vehicle. So what were your impressions today of today's test?
Well, today was really amazing. We hope we never need to use this system, but in case we ever have any trouble aboard the beautiful Atlas V on the launch pad, we know after today's test that we'll be able to get off safely and then come back and try again a different day. So this shows that Boeing is committed to safety, and that we are really looking forward to flying on a safe spacecraft, and today really showed it. It's beautiful.
So how's it going to feel for NASA to have a crew transport system once again?
Well, it's been a long time since we've launched out of the United States. We really appreciate our friends in Russia for having the launch vehicle on the Soyuz. I flew on it twice. It's a great launch vehicle, a great spacecraft, and but it's time to have more options. And the commercial crew program is opening up a new industry for the United States, and it's an exciting time.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you, I know we were together over in Florida while you guys were there getting in the Starliner vehicle, and there was a moment where you were in the seat and you were kind of taking a look at the paneling, and you know, our human factor systems engineer Selena Dopart was there, and you kind of turned to her and you said, I see what you guys are doing here, and it looks good with the paneling. And I know she kind of was really moved by that comment. I was in there. I got a little choked up over it. It's just incredible to have you here and be a part of the team.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be part of the team also.
And so, of course, NASA astronaut Nicole Mann, this will actually be her first time to space, Marine fighter pilot. So at this point, like I said, you were just out to our recovery zone for mission dress rehearsal. We saw you in Florida. Is it starting to feel like launch is around the corner at this point?
It's starting to feel really close. It's amazing, especially being here for the test. We've had a chance to be in the vehicle quite a few times, but down at the Cape last week, we were in the spacecraft and it was all finished out and all the final paneling was on, and it looks a lot like our trainers. And so that's good news. We've been going through a lot of the training, so it's nice to see the final products coming online, and big milestones like the test today are just showing that we're getting a lot closer.
And then Chris, for you real quick, so you closed out the shuttle program and then you came to Boeing shortly after. And I mean, this program has been kind of your life for the last couple of years. What's it like to now be standing here after Starliner just took to the air for the first time?
So I've envisioned what this day would look like. You know, I had this trajectory of what this pad abort would look like for a long time, and to actually see it happen was just fantastic. And it worked pretty much the way I had always envisioned. And I really have to, I gotta take my hats off to the Boeing team. You know, as we speak, of course, we have this huge test going on today. On the East Coast, we're fueling our vehicle for the orbital flight test that will take place in December. So on both coasts, we have major operations taking place to restore human spaceflight from the United States of America. It's a very proud moment for me. It should be a very proud moment for the entire Boeing team who have made this happen. And you know, hopefully our NASA customers are equally happy with the progress that we've made. And it's a great day for the United States of America.
That's right. Yeah, as a NASA guy, it was great to be out here with the Boeing team. I know we're all super excited too. Our NASA astronauts, the Boeing team, really a fantastic day. We don't want to hold you guys up too long.
That's right.
I'm sure everybody wants to start celebrating because this was a really successful day. So thanks for running over real quick and having a couple of minutes with us. Really appreciate it.
We really do.
Thanks.
Yep.
Excited to be here.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, you guys.
See you guys
at,
later.
That's a TV.
That's right.
So at this point, you know, it's what's up next for Starliner, our uncrewed flight test to the International Space Station, slated for December 17th. Can't wait for that. So excited. Hope y'all all tune in and watch us. And like we said, if you're on the Space Coast, you better come on out and support your hometown girl.
That's right. And as we said, there's a couple of milestones leading up to that. Spacecraft's being fueled. Pretty soon it's going to be rolling out to ULA's vehicle integration facility, and it'll actually get stacked on top of the rocket. We're looking for that in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. Again, you can follow Boeing on social media, at Boeing Space and on Boeing.com, and then NASA, NASA.gov, and our various social media sites, including at Commercial Crew on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're everywhere. So continue following along. Thanks for waking up and watching this today. Starliner's first flight test. Its first time taking to the skies, a successful pad abort this morning.
Hey, thank you very much, everyone. See you out there.